எழில் ஆ இல்ல நீங்க இன்னும் உள்ள வரல போல இருக்கு. Good evening, Dr. Ramesh Kumar, sir. Good evening, sir. Dr. Gunasekharan, sir.
Good evening, Ravi.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, good evening. 5 minutes lo antara.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dr. Balaji, sir.
Yes, tell me, sir.
Sir, we start exactly at 4 o'clock, sir.
Okay.
6 more minutes left.
Yeah, sure.
We will wait up to 4 o'clock. Exactly at 4 o'clock, we'll start. Dr. GJ, madam?
I'm here only, sir. I'm here.
Yes, yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
So, good evening to all. Good evening to all.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening,
Sir,
sir.
it's 4 o'clock exactly. Shall we start
Okay.
today's
Sir, we can
session?
start.
Yes, sir. Dear participants, good evening to all. Today is the third day and third and last day of the our workshop. I request
Good evening, sir.
good evening. I request my colleague Dr. G. Jayanti Madam welcome the participants and also introduce the today's resource person. Dr. G. J. Madam.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Respected Secretary Dr. T. Kannayan, sir, and our Principal Dr. D. Brinda, ma'am, esteemed heads of the Economics Department, Dr. R. Ravikumar, sir, aided, and Dr. V. Moganasundram, sir, unaided, eminent speakers and guests, beloved lecturers, and my dear students and participants, warm greeting to one and all. On behalf of Economics Department, I, Dr. Jayanti, extend a sincere warm welcome to all of you present on the 3 days national workshop on research methodology and data analysis for social sciences organized by Economics Department. And also, I want to extend a warm welcome and note of thank you to our chief guest, Dr. B. Balaji, sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Economics, Central University of Tamil Nadu, Tiruvarur, for accepting our college function invitation and ready to share their knowledge and vast experience with the student community. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. With this Henry Ford quote, once again, I welcome you all for this great occasion. Now, I hand over this session to our HOD, Dr. Ravikumar, sir. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Madam. Thank you, madam. Now I invite our today's resource person, Dr. B. Balaji, sir, to present his views. Then he will be presenting to 4:45. Then after that, we will be having a discussion session. Dr. Balaji, sir, the session is yours.
Good evening, one and all. I thank Doctor for providing me such an opportunity to meet students. It's a great pleasure. Before starting the presentation, I just want to share a few words. Looking at the chat box, I come to know that it's a. Am I audible to all? Let me check it clearly. Am I audible for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Fine. There are 2 points. It's not a rule. It's just a kind of we can say a principle. So suppose you are not able to hear me properly, just stop and make sure that you hear me properly. Second thing is, if you have any queries, we have some interaction section. So keep it the questions for that. Then we can have interaction on that. Okay. Let me proceed further. Actually, by looking at the chat box, I found that it's a very, very heterogeneous group actually. People are coming from political science, people are from history, and then some people are working in some research institutes as a scientist. Okay, actually, I'm not very sure the lecture what I'm going to deliver today, how it's going to be useful for you, because this lecture is completely on time series econometrics. Okay, how to deal with the time series data. Probably people from political science or history or may not using this time series data. Only people from management, commerce, and economics, they may aware of this time series data because it all depends upon the issue. Whereas the people working in history and other fields, other social science branches, they're looking only for cross-sectional data. They will use to collect only data at particular point of time. So I'm not very sure how it is going to be useful, but let me try my level best to make you a brief understanding of this time series analysis. First point. Second point is time series analysis is an ocean. Okay, I'm not going to cover everything. I'm just going to dip my foot on the ocean. Okay, I'm just going to discuss a very basic basic analysis and how to deal with the basic time series data. Very basics. Okay. Actually, you may ask the question, why basics? Because the estimation process is very simple. Nowadays, it's become more sophisticated. People will generally lose only in basics. So I'm trying to cover the basic part only. Okay. It's a very basic. Even I can say that this is the basic for even deal with any data. If you want to deal with any data, better you can follow this basics means it will be very useful for you go for your analysis. I have a small presentation. This is my plan actually. So I'll start a presentation. In between, I have some data in Excel. The thing is, I'm not going to teach you any packages. First of all, you have to understand that. I think for the last 2 days, you might have come across a package called SPSS. But to be very frank, this time series data will not work better in SPSS packages. There are some special packages for this. SPSS, yes, you can do, but very basic preliminary analysis. You can't do any even a better analysis in SPSS on time series data. So I'm not going to cover a package on SPSS. It's purely based on some other packages. What I can do is I can show you some data in Excel, and I can tell you how to work on that time series data in Excel itself. So if you ask me which package is a better package for time series, I can say Excel. You can do all the analysis in Excel itself. If you're little, watch my words, it's little knowledge about coding and how to deal with mathematics. Okay, so this is my plan. So I can teach you how to deal data in Excel. At the same time, I can introduce some packages. Okay, some packages are is free of cost. Okay, it's an open source. You can get it and work it. Some packages are paid source. Okay, so this is my plan. I can discuss something about time series. Then I can show you some data transformation in Excel. Then something on the other packages available for statistical estimations. Apart from this, you have any queries, not only from this topic related to your research or some other issues you're facing in during your research issues, you can ping me or you can post a question after the session. Okay, is it clear? All of you, is it clear for you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes. Let me proceed. Let me check whether people are able to see my slides. One more thing is, if I started presenting the screen, I'm not in the position to see you people. Okay. So if I ask, somebody can respond, because sometimes I may lose the connection. I don't know. I'm not in the position to see whether I'm in live or not, because once I started sharing my presentation, I may look only on the presentation, not you people. So better if I ask anything, you can respond. Okay. You can unmute your mic and you can respond. Is my screen is visible?
Okay, sir. Okay,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fine.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So actually, yes, thanks. Thank all.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So actually, I'm strongly believing in delivering lecture based on interaction based. I generally don't want to go with one-way communication. So if I ask questions, all of you please respond. Okay. I'm not going to ask you any tough questions. Okay. Very simple questions. I just want to know your understanding. Okay. Okay. Let me start this. So my screen is visible, right? Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Today we are going to discuss on time series analysis, right? So my presentation is structured in this way. First, I'm going to discuss what is meant by data. It is very important. Most of the people doesn't know what is meant by data. Anyhow, we are dealing with most of the data. So I'm going to give you some definitions of data, very important definitions. Don't worry, I'm not going to consume much time on this. Then something on types of data. I think most of you know much about this types of data, but still I need some time. I just want to explain you on my style what is meant by data, types of data and all. So time series data. What is time series data? Then the role of frequencies in time series data. Then the preliminaries, the basic steps you have to follow while you're dealing with time series data. and then it's the most important thing. What are the problems generally we used to face in time series modeling? Finally, the role of econometric packages. Okay, so why data is needed? Anybody? Make it quick. Why data is required? First, this is a question. Why data is required? Why we need a data?
To
Without
analyze
data, we cannot do anything.
Yes.
Without data, we cannot do anything.
Anything in the sense?
Anything in the sense, if the data is available, we want to process certain things. We have an information based on that.
Okay, I'll take this call. Then
We may judge the statements what we are framing as hypothesis based on data, sir.
okay, fine. You're talking about little higher things, hypothesis and all. So okay, fine.
The data is the information what we are going to collect for our research.
Yes. Okay. People have different opinions. I'm really happy. So the first thing is why data is required is this. Data speak louder than words. Okay. Instead of simply saying that people are dying, people are running shortage of vaccines, people are having more income, a particular group of society is earning more, whereas the other set of the people are not getting income. Instead of simply saying in words, if you explain that with a particular number for the data, it makes more sense. That is what data is required. Data speaks louder than words. Okay. So, what is data? If you ask data, there is a lot of definitions on this. There is huge set of definitions on this. The data what defined in social sciences may have slightly differed in exact sciences. Okay, because I think all of you know about this. In exact science, we deal with data in laboratory. Okay, whereas in social sciences, we social scientists generally deal with data with humans. Okay, human mindset differ. I'll ask a simple question. I just want to justify why data collection in social sciences is quite complicated and it has its own limitations. Okay, so let me ask a simple question. I gave you a questionnaire. Okay, now I ask you to fill it up. Okay, what can you do? You may have a pleasure. Suppose if I ask you, where are you from? What is your name? Okay, you can. You may happy to share your information, and you can share with pride and pleasure. Okay. The same question, if I come and ask you at midnight, 2 o'clock, I knock your door. When you come up, I ask you, what is your name and what are you doing? How can you respond? You respond the
Is
question.
it time?
Yes, you will respond the answer, maybe.
Is
Okay.
it the time?
It is not time. What I'm trying to say is that the same respondent at different stages, he responds differently. Okay. Even the way in which you respond may be a little arrogant. Okay. You may ask, hey Baba, what's the time now? You come and ask me what I'm doing. Okay, right? So this is the problem with social sciences. Here we deal with humans. Human behavior or keep on changing. Okay, so there is always some possibility of committing errors. Sometimes because of your sleepiness, you may miss your destination also. You may say something, you just want to send me out. Okay, so this is the problem in social sciences. Whereas, if you deal with exact sciences, okay, the thing is same. Wherever you add, even the midnight or in the morning or the sunshine or in the sea, wherever you add 1 unit of hydrogen and 2 units of oxygen, it's going to be water only. Okay. So that's an exact data. Whereas when we deal with social sciences like economics, anthropology, political sciences, history and all, even history, the documented data is fine. Suppose you are collecting the information first hand, you are facing a lot of problems. Okay. So what is the definition? These are some important definitions of data. So most of you know this. Okay. What is data? It is nothing but observed fact, collected information. Okay. Based on a lot of factors. So different definitions are given. When you start from Webster New International Dictionary, it explains data as something given. Something given is data. Okay. When it comes to Oxford Encyclopedia English Dictionary, data means known facts or things used as a basics of inference and reckoning. My concern is only on the fifth thing because I'm an economist, so I'm dealing with social sciences. So what is my data? As by modern economics dictionary, it means that observations on the numerical magnitude of an economic phenomenon. So on my perception, whatever thing I'm dealing, whatever thing I count as data is nothing but observations on the numerical magnitude of economic phenomena. Right? Okay. Then this is the very basics. Okay. Types of data. Right? So what are the different types of data? Yes, please.
Slide is not moving, sir.
Slide is not moving.
That is you're in before slide, the next slide you're not. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am. Is not everyone is able to see? It's only you, ma'am.
Sir, yes, sir. Actually, I think you have to present the
Sir,
full
now
screen.
we can see the types of
Now
data.
we can. It's moving, sir.
We can
Previously,
Okay,
it was
fine.
in the first slide. Yes, sir. Yes.
Oh, fine. Sorry.
Now it's
So are you able to see
moving,
this? This slide, are you able to see this? Otherwise, I can keep it like this. Are you able to see this? This one
I
only.
think
I
we'll
just
Now
I
we
discuss
can
about this one.
Little bit zoom in, sir. Will be okay.
Yes, sir.
It is visible, but in YouTube it will be.
Sir,
smaller,
YouTube. I'm sorry, sir. I can't help that because it's based on how they are showing. Okay.
Okay.
If I extend this, here the presentation will be ruined actually.
Okay. Okay. You can proceed.
Now are you able to see the screen? The third
Yes.
screen.
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Please, if you have any issues, please let me know. Okay.
Sure.
Slide
So types of data.
Yes, sir.
No, I'm in the third slide.
view-
Types of slide.
Sir, view show, sir. Please click view show.
Sorry.
View.
show, sir. View show.
Sorry, ma'am. Actually, what I'm doing is I'm sharing my presentation in Google. Okay.
Right, sir. You please click view show, sir. View show, sir. Then only it will be full screen will appear, sir. View show F5.
Ma'am, I'm using that. Slideshow, F5. I'm using that. The full screen is coming, but you are not able to see. That's the problem.
Yes, sir. Sir, slide sorter is there, sir.
So now, just a minute. What slide you are seeing now?
Types of data, sir.
It's the first slide. Okay. Time series analysis. I think, is it clear, right?
Fifth slide.
So now
Okay,
we are
otherwise
seeing
give me a
types of
minute.
data, sir.
Types of data. So that's a problem.
Yes, sir.
No, I'm in different slide.
types of data, some basics.
And it's not changing.
This is
Then I have
50
to do one
slides.
thing. Is it fine? Now, is it fine for all?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
No. Then I will do one thing. Just give me a minute. I will share it as a PDF. Then I can share that. Okay. That may be a better choice. Just give me a minute.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Is it clear for you now? Are you able to see the screen?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Sir, yes.
Yes, sir. Time series analysis.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes. So, picture. This one, structure of presentation. Is it
Structure of
clear?
Yes.
presentation.
Yes, sir.
Types
Yes,
of
sir.
data.
Why
Yes,
data
sir.
is needed? Okay. Now
Yes, sir.
we are data understanding. Then this is time series data. Types of data. Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
sir.
So I think
Thank you, sir.
most of you are aware of this different types of data, right? Generally, actually, data can be classified in different types. Okay, if you look data from science perception, if you look data from the way in which it's collected, if you look data from the method of collection, we have different classifications. But for simplicity, I can go with these three classifications. Yes, anybody? Any questions? Somebody ask for something. Any queries?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Somebody
No.
said, okay, so fine. So cross-section data. So what is cross-section data? Cross-section data is nothing but the data of one or more variables collected at the same point of time. I will give you some examples. You can easily catch it up. Okay. Then time series data. What is time series data? Time series data is nothing but a data which is collected over a period of time. Just watch the word collected over a period of time, which means that you're collecting a data, information about a particular variable again and again over a period of time. Okay. Panel data or pool data is nothing but the combination of both. I can tell you a small example. Okay. Cross-section data. All of you are aware of this. I think all of you know about blood pressure, right? Measuring blood pressure. BP, right? Guys, are you able to hear me?
Yes,
Am I
sir.
able to-
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Suppose, I'll
Yes.
tell you a small example. If you check the blood pressure of a person, okay, that is called as cross-section data, because you are not collecting BP for every minute, right? What you can do, maybe 1 hour, morning you can check the BP, or maybe some 4 hours you can check the BP, maybe after a day you can check the BP. So, if you collect the data at only one particular point of time, it is called as cross-section data. The best example for is blood pressure. Okay, so I just want you to make you understand in an easy way. You can easily catch it up. So when it comes to time series data, I can tell you this example. How many of you know about electrocardiogram, ECG, right? I think all of you know about ECG, right? How the graph look like?
Up
Yes,
and
sir.
down, sir.
No, not ups and down. It will measure the heartbeat each and every
Yeah.
second, right?
Yes,
If you
sir.
plot the data, it look like a graph. There is no any breakup. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That kind of data is called as time series data. Okay. Even there is a gap between the 2 points, maybe 3 seconds or 4 seconds. The frequency of the data is the machine used to measure your heartbeat for every 3 seconds. That is called as time series data. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So if you can easily understand this. So if you are collecting a data at only one particular point of time, one or more variables, but only one particular point of time, then it is called as cross-section data. If you collect the data over a period of time, maybe today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, the next to next day, like that, then it is called as time series data. Okay, panel data and pool data. This is a very odd example. It is not happening, but still I'm saying you are measuring blood pressure, okay, and time and heartbeat continuously over a period of time. Okay, at the year 2030, then it is going to be a cross-section data. Am I right? Is it clear? I'm just
Yes, sir.
I'm just explaining this with respect to economics. Okay, the real-time data collection, right? You are collecting information, the year population information in the year 2020. Again, you are collecting the population information in the year 20, 2 different points, the same data. Then it is called as cross-section data. Time series data is something like if you are documenting your data, GDP data, okay, right, or oil price data, petrol price data. What happened? Yes. Any questions? I am here some noise because I don't know whether you are asked, because I'm not able to see you. I thought it's a question. I think some of you can unmute your mic because I'm hearing some noises. I think
Kindly, kindly mute your mics. Three are unmuted. Yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
don't have any issues in questioning, but the only problem is I'm not able to understand whether it is a question or noise. Okay.
Participants are requested to put your questions in the chat box so that it will be answered in the later section of the presentation. Yes, sir. You can proceed with your presentation, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
They will put their question in the chat box, or in the discussion session we will come to.
Okay, thank you.
discuss the issues. Yes.
So, what you do? Let me explain this with the help of real-time data. If you collect the population in the year 2020, 2030, 2040, then it is called as cross-section data. If you collect the petrol price data every day, what is the petrol price data today? What is the petrol price data tomorrow? Then it is going to be a time series data. Panel data is nothing but the combination of both. Okay. So why I am giving much importance to these kind of data structure is your entire research structure, your entire research design, your analysis is purely depends upon this data only. Okay, first point. Point number 2 is whatever methodology, whatever empirical tool you are applying for time series data may not suit for the cross-section data. Whatever tools you are applying for cross-section data will not use for panel data, because each and every data has its own properties, own conditions, and own criteria. Okay, if you want to estimate this time series data, it's supposed to process, it's supposed to be satisfied a set of conditions. Then only you can apply a set of tools. Okay, that is a little advanced level. Okay, so like that, if you are dealing with cross-section data, the data must satisfy certain conditions. Then only you can apply certain tools and analysis. So don't think that whatever methodology, whatever econometric tool you are applying for one data type will apply for everything. No, it is not. Okay. The methodology useful for time series will not applicable for cross section as well as panel data. Even though the name may be similar, but the process in which the methodology works is completely different. Okay, that you have to keep in mind, because generally people will commit this mistake only. They have a cross-sectional data or they may have a time series data, but they want to apply a tool which is not suit for this kind of data structure. This is very, very important point you have to keep in mind, right? Okay. So, yeah. So our concern is time series data. As I said, today is my complete lecture. My lecture is purely concentrated only on time series data. When it talks about time series data, as I said, the data is collected over a period of time, right? That is called as time series data. It is fine. But even though the data is collected over a period of time, what is the frequency of time? That also matters. As I said, if it talks about heartbeat, the electrocardiogram measures the heartbeat, if I'm right, I'm not very sure, once in 3 seconds. Okay, the heartbeat will be measured by electrocardiogram once in 3 seconds or 3 seconds or 3 minutes. I'm not very sure. So there is some time limit. Okay, it may measure the data at 4:28, then it will measure the data at 4:31, then it may measure the data at 4:34. So there is some frequency between the data points, right? That frequency also matters. While doing your analysis, this frequency plays a very, very vital role. Okay, generally, the data coming into time series can be classified under this much of frequencies. I think you easily catch it up. One is annual data, another one is semi-annual data, third one is quarterly data, monthly data, bi-monthly data, which is nothing but the data is collected once in 15 days. Fortnight is also once in 15 days. Weekly data, daily data, and intra data. So you would have think that it is all data. Why we need such a classification? Each and every data has its own advantage as well as disadvantages. Okay, so I will try to present that very quickly. See, suppose you are talking about annual data. Okay, you are dealing with annual data. Let me say annual production. Okay, annual production of an industry. You are dealing with annual data. Okay, so let us assume in the year 2020 or in the year 2019, the production January 1st, 2019, the annual production of a company X is say 100 tons of something. So let me say it again. In January 1st, 2019, the production of a company X is 100 million tons of certain product. So what happened is you are measuring again in the January 1st, 2020. Okay, initially you talk about 2019, now 2020. The production is say now 120. So whether the production raised or production fall. From with these two informations, how can you conclude? What conclusion you will draw?
Production increased 20 tons.
Production increased by 20 times, right? Fine. Okay, but this is the annual data, right? Suppose annual data, you know that the data is documented only on January 1st. Let us assume between these 12 months, there is a serious draft, there is a serious layoff. Okay, something happened like the pandemic, some serious shock had happened. Because of that, the company was shut down for 3 or 4 months. Okay, on that time, their production is zero. After the lockdown is over, they started the production again. So what happened is, if you are dealing with annual data, you will lose the informations happen within a year or even a testing, because annual data is the data point which measures only what happened in the particular year to the next year. But in between, there may be a lot of information, lot of things might have happened, but those information will not capture up in annual data. Or you will understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. This is very, very important. Second point is, so why I'm trying to say this is, if you increase the frequency of the data, you can get more information. Data is nothing but information. So if you're going for higher frequency of data, then you will get more information. If you're going for lower information, lower frequency of data, you can end up with less information. That is very, very important. Okay. So semi-annual, you know that it measured only on once in 6 months. Quarterly data. See, anybody can tell me what is the economic variable we publish only on quarterly basis? Any idea? In India, Government of India used to publish an important
Q1,
variable.
Q2, Q3, Q4.
No, that is nothing
Total
but quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4 you are talking about. I am
Yeah,
talking
every
about
3
what
months
variable.
once they are collecting it.
Which one?
Every 3 months once they collecting the production details of industries and they are publishing.
No, what I am asking is what data is published on quarterly basis?
Bank.
What, madam?
GDP report, sir.
Okay, it's Jagan, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, fine. Vidya, madam, you said something.
Production details, sales details.
They publish
RBI rates. RBI rates.
See, RBI is, I think better, if I have time, I will show you the RBI also. RBI used to publish a lot of data based on different frequencies. They used to publish weekly RBI bulletin based on monthly data, and then semi-annual, weekly data, as well as all the frequencies. Go with Mr. Gobu. As he said rightly, India's GDP data is available only on quarterly basis. We used to publish our quarterly data once in 3 months, not monthly data. Monthly data is not available for India on GDP. Our gross domestic product data is published only on quarterly basis. Okay. So monthly basis. If you talk about monthly basis, anybody can tell me what type of data is published on monthly basis? On economic scenario. Lot of data. I can say WPI. I think all of you know about WPI, wholesale price index, and CPI. Now we are not publishing.
Cost of living index, consumer price index.
Yes, all the indexes are published on monthly basis. But initially it was published on weekly basis also. Now RBI stopped publishing all these things. Now they are publishing only on monthly basis. There are few data which used to publish on bi-monthly and fortnightly. Weekly data, most of the people who working on financial sector used to work on weekly data. Okay, daily data. If you talk about daily data, you can get daily information over exchange rates, stock prices. Okay, these are the data used to publish on daily basis. Intra-data, even there are some kind of data, maybe the people from financial background, they know. It is called a stick-to-tick data. They are able to hear me the sound. This much time you can get the data, once in 3 minutes or something like that. Tick-to-tick data is available. Okay, so why I'm trying to say this is because if you look at the data, each data has its own information. The question is, which type of data we are supposed to use? Whether you are supposed to go for intra-data, whether you are supposed to go for daily data, or you're looking for quarterly data, or you're looking for annual data. Which data frequency you're supposed to use? If you ask me this question, I will say I don't have any answer, because the frequency of the data, it depends upon your research issue. Okay. Suppose you are dealing with stock market indexes, stock market indices, exchange rates. Okay. Let us discuss with let us confine only with stock market data. So if you deal with stock market data, there is no point in using annual data, because your today's stock market is exclusively depends upon yesterday's price. There are certain hypotheses called adaptive expectation hypothesis are available. Okay, so today's stock price is exclusively depends upon yesterday's price. So it depends upon the nature of the research issue. You have to use your data. Suppose you can't get the better results if you're using annual data for the stock market analysis. It's quite obvious, because the stock market data is structured, it's interlinked in such a way. Okay, you can't use even semi-annual data, quarterly data for stock market analysis, because you can't say that today's stock prices depends upon 3 months stock price. Okay, 3 months back stock price. So it depends upon your issue. Okay, suppose if you working on population data, you can't export intraday data, daily data, even annual data is not available. Only you have to go for data once in publishing 10 years. Okay, so it's all the frequency of the data. It's all depends upon your need. Okay, as I said, if you're going for high frequency data, you will get more information. If you're going for low frequency data, you will lose the information content. Okay, as I told you yearly, within a year we have 12 months. there may be a lot of dramas may happen within the 12 months. Your annual data won't capture that information. It will take only 2 different points. Suppose you start from 100, okay, you are coming down to 90, 95, 85, 50, 20, 10, 0, then again you go to 120 means the annual data measure only the 100 point, 120 point. You can say that you are in a better position. That's the problem with annual data. What as I said earlier, it is the problem with high frequency data. So by keeping in this mind, you can't use always the lower frequency data. The frequency of the data must be come from your research question. It's based on what type of research you are dealing with. Okay. So why I'm saying is this is because in time series econometrics, depends upon the frequency of data, you can apply different models. Okay. Certain models won't earn you a better results if you're applying an annual data or quarterly data. It need high frequency of data. I can tell you, maybe some financial persons know this. There is a model called as GARCH model. It is the model name called as GARCH. It is nothing but generalized autoregressive and distributed lag models. This model is proposed by a person called Angel Granger. Okay, he got a Nobel Prize for this. Okay, if you want to estimate this model, if you want a better results, this model will help you to capture the volatility, financial volatility and volatility in the stock markets. Okay, you can't expect this model will get you better results if you are dealing with annual data. Even the quarterly data won't get you the better results. Maybe monthly data, but high frequency, maybe more than 500 and 600 points. Then only this model will get you the better results. Okay, so all the time series data, the model what you're using time series data, it's also the results of those models also depends upon the frequency. So what I'm trying to say is that the models what you are going to decide, what you are going to use for your analysis is also depends upon the frequency of your data. You can't apply the data, the model which is in need of high frequency data for a data which is at low frequency. Suppose the model is recording high frequency data, you can't apply annual data because maximum how much data points you can get, even though you go for 100 years, only 100 data points. Okay, suppose you are using the high frequency data, these 100 data points you can get in 3 months, maybe 4 months, daily data. Okay, so even you can get 100 points in say 2 hours with the tick to tick data. So it's all depends upon the modeling. The modeling is all depends upon the frequency of the data. That is what I just want to share with you. Yes, this is a very preliminary step for any good researcher. You may see why the hell graphs, whether this graph is a preliminary step. I'll tell you, if you look at the graph of a data, any time series data, it will tell you n number of stories. N number means n number of stories. By looking at the graph itself, you can easily understand whether you commit any mistakes in computing the data or entering the data, is there is any typos in the data. Apart from this, even you can simply understand the nature of your data. You can obtain a lot of stories from this. I will show you a graph that will help you to understand this. Then the descriptive statistics. All of you know about descriptive statistics. Why there is a need for descriptive statistics? Descriptive statistics will tell you a brief story of your data. So what is the mean value? What is your minimum value of the data? What is the maximum value? What is the standard deviation? Whether your data is satisfying the normality condition, whether it is hypochondric or whether it is following the condition of normal distribution. All the informations you can get by checking this descriptive statistics. Then the other important part is data transformation. Stock related data based on MPS, EPS, dividends are available. Yes, sir, I will keep the question, sir. Data transformations. This is also very, very important. Why data transformation is important? Suppose, I think all of you know about the research structure. Actually, this point is completely correlated with that idea. Research structure, research design. So what generally we should do? Generally what we're trying to do is, we try to prove or disprove something called as hypothesis. When it comes to economics or social science, we try to prove or disprove the existing theory, or we try to provide a new justifications. So if you look at this kind of analysis, we are following the model based on the existing empirical literature. Okay, sometimes, not sometimes, most of the times, the empirical literature will suggest you a model. Okay, based on a complete specification. Right, there are certain models which will measure the elasticity I think all of you know about elasticity, right? What is elasticity? Elasticity is nothing but called as responsiveness. What is responsiveness? In simple terms, I can say how much a change in one variable will cause a change in other variable. So I can explain this with a simple theory, like something like law of demand. I think all of you know about law of demand. What is law of demand says? Law of demand says that people will buy more at higher prices and buy less at net prices, which means that if price increases, demand falls. That is what law of demand trying to say. So the theory says that if price increases, demand falls. That's an idea. So what you are mentioning here, how much a change in price will lead to a fall in a demand. This is nothing but elasticity, responsiveness. How much a change in price responding a change in demand. Okay, if such model, you have to go for elasticity model. Okay, so there are certain models which itself explain that the data must be in the first order, the data must be in the long transformations, like that. So the theory says that the variables must be, it is not inverse relationship, it's a negative relationship, sir. There are two different concepts. Negative relationship is different, inverse relationship is different. Okay. So the point is, sometimes theory itself will tell you, you have to supposed to use different kind of transformations. So I'm going to just show you all these things with a simple graph. Okay. Actually, this is the crux of my presentation. Please let me know whether you are able to see my screen or what.
Sir, able to see.
No, sir.
Just a minute, I'm sharing it. Just give me a minute. Okay, before going to this, you have any questions on this? Let me clarify that first. Any questions? Okay. See, I'll tell you one important thing, because I think you also need slight breaks. See, don't assume anything. There are three types of people, maybe two types. One people is really understand something. Other type is they never understand anything. The third type is they think they understood everything. These two people does not harmful for system. Only the third people are harmful. So don't assume anything. If you don't know anything, doesn't matter. You're free. You can feel free to ask. If you know everything, I'm very happy. So don't assume that you understand this. Okay, that's my humble request. So I can share my screen now. So is my Excel files visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fine. So we talks about different types of frequencies, right? So here I'm documenting few variables, but only on monthly and quarterly basis. This data, look at here. This is nothing but IAP. IAP is something called as Index of Industrial Production. So sometimes you may not be aware of this, so I can go with this. EXR. It is nothing but the exchange rate. You know what is my exchange rate, right? Exchange rate is nothing but the price of our own currency. We have 5 variables here. One is IAP, another one is INT, interest rates, third one is M3, money supply, and fourth one is WPI, and fifth one is exchange rate. These data are available on monthly frequency. Okay, I'm not using any annual data here. I'm using the monthly frequency here. So let me show this first. In our thing, I'm talking about graphs, right? So why graphs are important? I'll just show you this. So these are the graphs, right? Anybody can interpret this graph. Any one of you have a try?
Sir, the line is continuously going on to increasing.
There is a gradual increase, sir. Every year there is a gradual increase in the.
Okay, I'll take everything. There is a gradual increase. Then one, you can call it as there is a expansion, right? Anything more? Okay, let me tell you why graphs are important. These are the data you're able to see, right? Suppose these are the data. Unfortunately, because of typo, instead of 116, I just forgot to put a decimal point here. Look at this data. Are you able to locate this error here? Forget about this graph. Are you able to look at any error here? This data look like similar, right?
Yes, sir.
You're not able to do, you're not able to understand anything from this. But if you plot this, you can easily identify that there is some error, some typos happen, right? This will help you. If you estimate this data as it is, then surely your model is going to show some unpleasant results because of this outlier. This outlier is not really happened. It is because of some typo. So the first and foremost basic step of any data analysis is plot the graph. Is it clear? All of you? Just plot the graph and see whether you can have any typos, any outliers, something like this. There may be some real outliers. So if that is the case, you just check with that outlier to the theory. Then you can find it maybe the theoretical aspect means you can leave it. Otherwise, you can make sure that you enter the data correctly. This is the first point. Is it clear? Okay. So let me correct the error. See, I already told you, if you want to, still it is not corrected. Yes. There are certain set of properties over there. If you want to apply any time series analysis, the data must satisfy a set of conditions. Okay, which means that what we generally used to do with time series data is we used to forecast the future based on the past information. Are you able to understand? You have to forecast the past based on, you have to forecast the future based on the past information. So what we generally assume is we put certain conditions for the estimation. The data must possess, the data must satisfy those conditions. Then only you can use this data for your analysis. That's the first point. Okay. So I'll tell you a small example. You all know electrocardiogram, right? How it look like? It look like ups and downs. Suppose instead of coming down, it's keep on going. What will happen to your heart?
That will indicate some problem. That will indicate some problem.
It's an explosion. You are going to die in a moment. So don't take it in the other way. I'm just trying to tell you. So like that, your data must lies within a band. Okay. So if you come little advanced to this econometrics, you might have know this. The thing is called a stationary property. If you want to apply a data for any time series data for analysis, the data must possess the condition called as stationary. Okay, I don't want to go much on that because it's completely a different platform. So just remember this for your information. If you are going to apply any time series data, the data must possess a condition called stationary. If it possesses that condition, if it satisfies that condition, you can go and estimate a set of models. First point. The second point is if the data is not satisfying that stationary condition, then you can go for a set of conditions, set of models. Second point. If you have a set of data, one is satisfying this stationary condition, another one is not satisfying this stationary condition, then you are not supposed to apply any one of the earlier models, then you have to go for a third set of model. Is it clear?
Sir, excuse me, your slide is not visible.
No, I'm not showing any slide.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just talking about, because I'm not documenting this everything in the slides. It's purely an information. I will repeat it again. This is very, very important. See, you have a data, time series data. Okay. If you're going for any modeling, first thing is you have to make sure that that data satisfied a condition called stationary. Okay. If that condition is satisfied, then you can apply a set of tools, set of econometric models for your analysis. First condition. Not necessarily all the times your data will satisfy that condition. Most of the cases it won't satisfy it. If that is the case, if the condition is not satisfied, then you are supposed to apply the other set of econometric tools for your research. Okay, I'm talking about two situations. The third situation is if we have a group of data, maybe x1, x2, x3, two variables are satisfying this condition, one variable is not satisfying this condition, then what you're supposed to do is you are supposed to go for the other set of models. The earlier set of models are not applicable for this kind of data structure. This is very, very important. Okay. So you can ask, so if that is the case, why we need a graph? As I told you, the primary conditions for any data analysis, time series analysis, the series must possess the conditions called stationary. Okay. Are you able to see my screen? Excel?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
If
sir,
the
yes, sir.
data is keep on increasing, exploring like this, then I can call this data as non-stationary data. Okay. If the data is keep on exploring, if it is not coming back, if you are not able to find the ups and downs of the data, the best example for stationary data is nothing but your electrocardiogram. You have a mean value, your data, your beats will lies around it. Instead of lying around the beat, lying around the mean, it's keep on exploring, then it is called as non-stationary data. Okay. So once you started learning those techniques, you can easily understand. If you give me this graph, I can say that the first point is this data is non-stationary. So what I can do is I can't use this data as it is for my analysis. If my analysis is for long-term analysis, I can't use this data as it is. So I am supposed to go for a transformation of this data. What type of transformation I have to do? That's a different case. So are you able to understand what I'm trying to say? By looking at the graph itself, you can obtain a lot of basic information about your modeling. I'm little aware of this model. That's what I'm saying. By looking at the data, I'm saying that this data is non-stationary. Okay? Means that the data is not satisfying the condition. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But how you come to that conclusion with the graph itself?
Sir, that will come only by experience, sir. You have to look a lot of graphs. I will show you. I will show you this graph in the other way of this graph. Then I can say I can call it as stationary graph. I will tell you why. Okay. Just give me a minute. I can come back to that. Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's have a look of this quarterly data. I already told you in India the quarterly data is published. GDP is published on quarterly basis, right? Just a minute. Give me a minute. Is there any time constraint? I want to finish at 5 or what? Because I don't know whether I can cover this within the time limit.
No issue, sir. No issue. You can proceed. You can proceed up to 5:15.
Oh, so okay, sir. Then I'll make it a little quicker because even I didn't cover half of the thing.
Okay, okay. Or you can take up to 5:20. Then.
Okay, sir. Fine. Okay, sir.
For the next 10 minutes, we will have discussion.
Yeah. See, we have. I'm talking about GDP data. Just have a look over this data. Anybody can comment on this data? What you're seeing here? Quick, make it quick. We have
it's ups and downs.
Zigzag.
Zigzag. Yes. Actually, if you come across something like that, I can call it as this data is having seasonality. Are you able to see? Once in 3 months, it shows an up, then again it come back, right? Again, once in 3 months it go up, again it come back. So this data is having seasonality. But looking at this data, you can't conclude anything. Look at this. By looking at this, you can't, looking at GDP, you can't say anything. But by looking at this data, looking at the graph, you can conclude that this data is having seasonal effects. You can't apply this data as it is for your estimation purpose. You have to de-seasonalize the data. There are certain methods are available to de-seasonalize this data. Okay. All the packages are providing de-seasonalization. Okay. So seasonal adjustments are supposed to be made. What is seasonal adjustments? See, the idea is very simple. If you look at the production of not production. If you look at the intake of coffee, the intake of coffee is very high during winter and rainy seasons, whereas during hot summer the intake is very less. Okay. If you plot the intake of coffee of your own for say some 10 years, you can easily identify that there is a cyclical pattern. During summer it is very low. During winter and rainy season it is very high. So there is a seasonal pattern. It is called a seasonal data. So you can't apply this data as it is. There is a seasonal factor here. You have to remove it. Okay. If you want to remove it, you have to apply something called as seasonal adjustment methods. There are certain standard seasonal adjustment methods are there, but there are certain preliminary adjustment methods are also there. I will try to show both. No, not that standard methods. I can tell you the preliminary method. Just keep this data. So as sir asked, how can I say this data is non-stationary? Let me keep this as it is. I will come to this point. I will show you descriptive statistics later. I will come to data transformations. Okay, the third point. See, the basic idea of time series analysis is any data which is non-stationary in nature, okay, which means that which is not satisfying the conditions. Okay, I will just keep the questions. I'll come back to that. The point is, if the data is not satisfying the conditions of stationary, if you make that data, if you transform the data into the first difference, it satisfies the condition. It means that the data is not stationary, which is not satisfying the condition. Then if you transform the data into the first difference, then that data will become stationary. That is the standard rule. That is a proven one. So you might have asked the question, what is the condition? Sir, you are always talking about condition. What is the condition? The condition is nothing but zero mean and constant variance. Okay, your data must possess zero mean and it must possess the condition of constant variance. These things are little advanced. As of now, you just keep it in your mind. If time permits, I will teach you. Otherwise, I can show you how transformation helps. So look at this graph. As I said, this graph is non-stationary. You can't use this data as it is. So, but I want to use this data. Okay. So what I'm supposed to do? I can go for transformation. What transformation I'm going for? I'm saying that if I take the first difference of this data, then it is going to be stationary. How can I go for transformations? So let me call this transformed IIP. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to compute a variable, a transformation, something like this. This is equal to yt minus 1 divided by yt minus 1. What is this? This is nothing but the first difference. How much the variable from 1994 M6 is changed from 1994 M5. This is nothing but a change. If you okay, I will tell you one more point. Just I will finish this. Just plot this data. Look at the data. This data, are you able to see the screen? Sir, all of you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is the raw data, which is non-stationary in nature. Okay. Which means it's keep on exploring. Look at the data, it's keep on increasing, right? Look at this data, what happened? It's lies around its mean. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
This data is similar to your electrocardiogram. If by looking at the graph, I can call this data is stationary, this data is non-stationary. Am I right, sir? All of you? So the simple plotting of the graph itself will tell you whether this data is stationary or not. Is it clear, sir? All of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You
sir.
want me to explain it again or what? No, even if you understand this.
We can take any data from that data set.
Yes, ma'am, any
You've
data.
taken it B16 minus B15.
No,
I can take B8 minus B9 like that.
yeah, we
also.
can do it, ma'am. Why I am not doing that? Because here we are having 100, right? So I will show you this value. So it may be a problem. So what I am doing is I can show you M3. So forget about this. This we will keep it. I have a point to share here. That's what I keep this data. I'll just keep this light. I will show you this. Look at M3. How it shows? It shows an increasing trend. This data is obviously non-stationary, right? This is not satisfying our conditions. So let's take the difference of this, first difference of this, transformation. So I can call it as TM3, right? How can we compute? The formula is very simple. How much a change from current period over the last period. So let us call it as YT. This is YT. Let me call this as YT. Okay. So the formula is YT minus YT minus 1. Sorry, YT minus 1 divided by YT minus 1. This is nothing but your growth rate. Okay. I got this. Both are same numbers, right? Fine. So let me plot this. Look at this. This is the raw data. By looking at the graph itself, I can say this is the non-stationary data. Look at this, it's around me. Okay. If the data, your data is having this kind of pattern, then it is called a stationary data. But there are certain tests or that to check it. But it is a preliminary test. That's what I use in my, look at this, in my chart, I'm talking about preliminary only. It is not a final thing. It's a basic thing. It's a preliminary thing. By looking at this, you can easily say that your data is non-stationary. If your data is possessing condition like this, you can't apply certain tools. I'm damn sure. Is it clear, ma'am? Any queries?
Yes, sir.
Please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then. Actually, I just want to share one more thing. Let me close this part. See, I think all of you know about. So, can anybody tell me what is output and what is growth? This is very, very important. Anybody? Okay, let me ask another question. Two questions I am posting. What is growth and what is output? Another one is what is price and what is inflation? Anybody? Make it quick.
Based on input, we can get the output.
Okay.
Growth is whether it is compared with the previous year, it may growing or not. The production is going or not.
We can explain it in a simple way. Yes, sir, I can take your point.
Growth
Okay, anybody?
means progress.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Growth, progress, sir.
Okay.
And inflation is a general increase in the price level of all goods and services.
So, okay. What is price level then? Okay, I'll give some two definitions I can explain you. Okay. Changes in price level. Then what is price level? How can you measure the price level?
Difference of base year and present year, sir.
Sorry?
Difference of base year and present year, sir.
No, that is the change in price level. I'm talking about what is price level itself.
The price means that the monetary value of goods, sir. Goods and services.
What?
Monetary value of goods and services, sir.
Okay, you may have thousands and thousands of goods and services. How can you measure the monetary value? Okay, please, it's a time constraint. Let me make it very quick because I just want to finish this one. See, what is output? Output is nothing but, if it talks about GDP, if it talks about IAP, both the things are output. It is nothing but the money value of all goods and services produced in a year. It's called as GDP. Am I right? Which is nothing but your output. Is it clear? Your GDP is your output. Total output of a country of a particular. Suppose you are saying that my GDP is say 100 crores, means 100 crores worth of goods and services you have produced. Am I right, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But what is growth? Growth is nothing but a change in GDP is called as growth. Are you able to understand? Suppose this year you are producing 100 crores, next year you are producing 120 crores, 105 crores means you are producing, your growth is 5%. Is it clear?
Okay, sir.
So change in output is called as growth. Okay.
Okay.
What is then price and inflation? General price level is nothing but called as WPI. It's an index including almost close to 635 items. Okay. Starting from pin to plane. Each and every item receives some weightages. Based on that, we construct an index called as WPI index. That WPI index is called as price index. That is called as price. Change in price is inflation. Is it clear? So understand this. GDP is nothing but your output. Change in output is nothing but your growth. WPI is nothing but your price index. It's called as general price. Okay. Change in price is nothing but your inflation. Why I'm saying this is we have both these two data. See, what is IAP? IAP is nothing but a proxy for GDP. I told you India is not publishing quarterly GDP, but in certain cases you need the data on monthly basis. So what we used to do is we are using IAP. IAP is called as Index of Industrial Production, which is the proxy for growth. So this IAP is nothing but your output. A change in output is nothing but your growth. Got it, ma'am? All of you? This is nothing but a change in output. This, let me call it WPI. Or as I said, WPI is nothing but your price level, general price level. So change in WPI is nothing but your output. So how can we measure inflation? Inflation is nothing but change in WPI. So how can we measure the change in WPI? So it can be measured something like this: current year minus the last year divided by the last year value. YT minus 1 divided by YT minus 1. This is a formula. This is your inflation. I'll tell you one thing. Look at this graph, WPA. All of you please have a look over here. Look at this graph. Whether this graph WPA is stationary or not. Anybody? Is WPA stationary?
Non-stationary.
No, sir.
Non-stationary. But look at this inflation. Inflation is stationary.
Inflation station. Yes, sir.
Okay. So what you have to understand here is whatever the variable you are going to use in your analysis is very, very important. If you are supposed to use inflation, then inflation is stationary. So it's what variable you are supposed to use. It depends upon your literature, your model, your objective. Suppose in some cases you are intended to use price data. In some cases you are forced to use inflation data. Don't get confused with this thing. Suppose in some cases you are supposed to use the output data, IIP as it is, raw data, right? This IIP as it is, the raw data. In some cases you are intended to measure output. Okay, growth. Growth means you have to go for a transformed IIP. Got it? Is it clear? Or you would understand?
Yes,
if
sir.
you are interested on working on output, then you have to use GDP or IIP. But you are interested on growth, then you have to go for change in GDP. So you are supposed to go for a transformation. These transformations are very, very important. So let me show you one more thing. Then I'm talking about this thing, right? Seasonal effect. How can we remove the seasonal effect? If you want to remove the seasonal effect, means what you can do is there are these things you can learn only by experience. Because of time constraint, I will show you how to remove the seasonality. So what we understand is the seasonal effect happens once in 4 points. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to adjust the seasonality. This minus this divided by this. Sorry, I'm not able to cover everything because of the time constraint. Let me see. Look at here. This data is no, even still have a season. Okay, better you can use instead of this method. There are certain techniques out there to desensitize the data that you can use it. Any queries on this? Just keep that queries. I will try to cover it. Yes, this is my final slide. Okay. So generally in time series, what we should do is we always end up with the wrong model. Okay. Most of the times we end up with the wrong model. Why? Because I already told you the problem. We have a data. Okay. We have some kind of data with us, but we trying to analyze a model which will not suit for the data. Okay. Suppose you are having a high frequency data, but you want to go for a model which suit for only annual data, means you can't get the better results. So generally what happened is I found this among most of the researchers. Without knowing the basic of the models, what they used to do is they pick a data. They have the data with them, but they have some model in their mind. They want to apply that model for that data without understanding whether that data suits for the model or not. This will happen to most of the researchers. It is because of lack of reading. So what we are supposed to do in such case, the only way is let the data speak for itself. Let the data decide whether what type of model it will choose. The best example is this. If your data is having information something like this, then you have to decide the model which will suit for this kind of data. Suppose your data having this kind of nature, then you have to choose a model which will fit for this kind of information. Okay. Finally, I will close this. This is my final slide. See, when we talk about econometric packages, are you able to see my screen, right? PPT?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir,
Roll
sir.
of packages, sir.
Yes, roll of packages. Generally, let me make it very quick. The point is, generally the packages are threefold. Okay, all the econometric packages. One is purely based on coding based. Okay, you have to write your own programs. Suppose even if you want to run a correlation, even if you want to sum two variables, you have to write a code. Okay, The second thing is the menu driven. Like we saw in Excel, there are menus are given. Suppose you want to do for correlation, you just go and click the button. The correlation button will be there. If you click it, that will be easily you can easily get. Nowadays, most of the packages are operating on the third level. Both have a combination of menu driven as well as code-based programs out there. I will ask one question. What method of package is good for you people? Whether the code-based or menu-driven or combination of both? Which one you
Combination
feel?
of both.
Combination of both. Okay. If you ask me, I say the code-based program is the best for your learning, because you can't estimate even a single summation without understanding it. Okay. Menu-driven is something like available in the hotel. You can go and order the thing; it will be easily served. Okay. But coding-based is like your own cooking. You have to know the procedures. When you know the procedures, only you have a clarity and understanding of the models. Then only you can write your own codes. Okay. So code-based programs are helpful for the researchers, on my perception. So one more thing is the third point. You have to choose an appropriate economic package or packages for your analysis. Suppose you have a time series data, you want to work on Stata or SPSS, it's not a good choice. It won't help you in any way. Okay. Whereas if you're looking for time series data, then you might think about the. I think all of you able to see some of my icons here, the status bar, or able to see icon here, my mouse bar, or able to see my mouse thing. All of you?
Yes, sir.
Something called as Gretel.
Yeah.
Yes,
Man
Gretel
is standing like that.
Yes, it's a freeware. Okay, it's available free of cost. You can download and exclusive for time series analysis. This is the Gretel. I'm not going to teach you that because of time constraint. Then you are able to see one more package, or able to see this eViews. This is the best package for time series analysis, but according to me, it only ruin the research because everything is menu driven here. I will show you one thing. There is no data. Okay. Yeah. These are the data is given here. Suppose you want to do anything, you just click it here. Every models are available here. Look at here. All the models, everything, whatever you want is available here. So you can make use of this data package for your analysis. Apart from this, the combination of both can be available in R. There is a package called R-Crane. It's a freeware. Okay. If somebody really wants to go for a better research opportunities, you can think about it. Only thing is you have to equip yourself. You have to learn how to write codes for your issues. Okay. I think with this I can stop because it's already 5:15. I supposed to finish it by 5 o'clock, it seems. So thank you for your patience. I can open for questions now. Sir,
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Dear participants, you can unmute your both video and audio to get your clarifications. Then,
so there are some questions are posted here.
Yes,
sir.
yes. You can post in the chat box also. We will take it
Even
up.
better, you can ask. I can. Srinivasa Raghavan post some questions. So, sir, can you explain what are those things? Increase in our output, changes in price level, gold price. Excuse me.
So there is one.
Sir, Bala sir.
One by one.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Good evening, sir. Just I simply defined the term inflation, changes in the price level. For example, in the year 1970, the gold price per gram might be 100 rupees. Assumption.
Okay.
Today, the gold price is per gram is 5,000 rupees. So there is no change in the gold, only the change in the price level. Similarly, petrol, etc. That's it. I simply explained.
Yes, I appreciate your attempt. Actually, the point is inflation and price level is a vast concept. Sir. See, how can we compute price level? That matters. See, when you talk about price level, we can include, now I'm talking about WPA, okay, based on 2014-15 prices. 637 items are there. It includes your oil, your petrol, your rice and everything. Each and every item gets the weightage, okay. The change in that index is called as inflation. This is only talks about the price of a particular product. It is not inflation. Yes,
no, there is no change in quantity. There is no change in the product, the description. Everything remains same. Only the price changes, isn't it? That is inflation, I think.
Sir, that is what we can call. Yes, I accept your point, sir. That it is not a general inflation. See, when we talk about inflation, the definition for it is change in general price level.
General price.
Here you are
Yeah.
talking about only gold price.
Not
General
only
price.
gold. You take any price of
No,
rice
sir,
or
I'm talking
wheat.
about the example. What you are given here.
Yes.
So how we define general price, that matters.
Yes, yes. Okay, okay.
Okay, sir. Then Mr. Gopu asked for something.
Sir, very nice presentation, sir. Thank you for your value inputs. And sir, we have an economic background, and where we face the problem to choose the model for economic variables, sir. Can you suggest the book for to choosing for appropriate model for economic variables, sir?
Sir, to be very honest, I already answered for this question. The data only choose what type of model you have to deal, sir. See, there is no
Actually, sir, if we are going to study about the econometrics means some of the books they are in describe about the econometrics, some of the packages as well as they are in explains what about the results. So this kind of textbooks, if any textbooks, I'm just asking about in your in academic readings, if you have any reference books that maybe help us to choose and to get more understanding. So that is what I'm asking.
I understand, sir. What I'm trying to say is that, sir, if you want to really know the economic tools, you can understand the basics from textbooks, sir. Even some standard textbooks means there are some books called as what is name? Applied Times of Econometrics by Walter Endres. But the problem is these packages are not developed by the textbook writers, sir. It is completely different ball game. So what you can do is you can read the help files of the packages. First, if you want to run the packages, you have to have a basic knowledge about the tools. Suppose you're talking about a tool called co-integration, you have to understand how the co-integration works. Okay. Then only this packages and all is nothing but it will help you only for 10%. Sir. Remaining 90% is your understanding of the model and the tool. Okay. Whether it's suit for your data or you can learn only through reading, sir. Maybe research articles. That's the best choice.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
If you want me to suggest some books, I can say you can go for Walter Endres. There is a book, Applied Economic Times, but little advanced level. If you want to read a very rigorous thing, there is a book by Econometrics by W. Green.
Green, yes, sir. Woolrich Greens, yes, sir.
Yeah, Woolrich is second. Maybe Woolrich also a good choice, but you can think about Green. It will cover everything.
Green.
For the basic thing, you can go for Damodar Gujarati, and then there are standard books out there.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
We have received 2 questions in YouTube chat box also.
Sir, please.
One is which software is most suitable or effective for social science research? Is one first question.
Sir, if you're saying social science research, apart from in economics is also social science research, but here we are dealing with both qualitative and quantitative data. So we are using all the software starting from SPSS, data. Even people are using MATLAB in economics also, because economics is completely become a science. Okay, what are the techniques developed in chemistry and physics? People are start applying here. You may hear about a technique called wavelet techniques, and then Fourier analysis, artificial intelligence. These things are developed in some other branches, but people are applying in economics too. So people are using MATLAB. MATLAB is one of the costliest software. There are software called as Statistica, Mathematica. Even economists, people are using that. I'm talking about pure on economics. Suppose you are dealing with political science or social work or something like anthropology, you can stick on with SPSS as well as Stata. Sometimes R also useful for this.
Okay, thank you, sir. The second question is someone asked about the generalized autoregression, the conditionality test. You said score test model, class model.
Okay.
They want a little explanation on that.
Okay, sir. I'll just try to explain it in 1 or 2 lines. Okay.
Yes,
See,
sir.
this conditional heteroscedasticity model is nothing but, if you want to understand this, you have to understand a condition called as heteroscedasticity. There is a condition. What is that condition? That condition is called as classical linear regression model. There are the conditions are there. If we want to estimate even a simple regression in econometrics, that regression model is supposed to be satisfied a set of conditions called CLRM, classical linear regression model conditions, or OLS. I think some mic is changed.
Kindly mute your mic. Dear participants, kindly mute your mic. Yes, sir. You can proceed.
The point is, those conditions are supposed to
Cricket வானாண்டா.
Sir, kindly mute your mic, sir.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, sir. Yes, sir, you can proceed, sir.
Yeah. So there are certain conditions. Something called as autocorrelation. Some conditions called as multicollinearity. There are some conditions called as heteroscedasticity. Heteroscedasticity is a condition which assumes that you have a constant variance. That I already told you, right? When you deal with the data, we saw that the variance must have the conditions of constant variance. That the variance must be constant. But this variance is unconditional variance. In the sense, the variance is for the entire data set. There is a condition called as conditional variance. For each and every given variable, even for each and every given data point, you have a variance. That variance is called as conditional variance. If you're modeling that conditional variance, that model is called as Garch model. It is not exactly the Garch model. It starts with a model called as autoregressive conditional heteroscedasticity. Then that model was modified by Boles-Ray, and it is called as generalized autoregression model. That model, in that group of models, almost some 100 to 120 models are there actually. So they have to understand the basics. Generally, what I'm trying to say is that this Garch model, Arch and Garch family of models, used to capture the conditional variance of your model.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Dear participants, if you have any questions, you can unmute your mic and raise your questions. Get clarified. Nagalakshmi, madam. Okay, thank you. Because you only open up the long discussions so that it will go in right way. Okay. Thank you very much. Other participants kindly.
Sir, they are clarifying from the bottom.
Okay.
So somebody is asking whether which current GDP or constant GDP is the best. Actually, this that's what I'm saying, sir. We can't say which one is best. It depends upon your research issue. Suppose you are dealing with all the variables on current prices, then you are supposed to use current GDP. But you are talking about the growth in real terms, then you can use constant GDP. If you are talking about growth in nominal terms, then you think about real GDP. It all depends upon your objective and research problems. So there is no one-to-one answer for this. All depends upon your your research questions and problems what you are going to address.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Please.
Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are clear.
Sir, you did mention about R software. I hear that it's very difficult. No,
sir, actually nothing in the earth is difficult. It will take some time. Maybe 1 or 2 weeks it will take some time, but you can easily do it, sir. That's a freeware, sir. There are people out there, n numbers, n means n numbers, infinite numbers of people are there to help. If you post that, that's a freeware, okay? It will take some time for you to start, okay? Once you started, it's very easy.
Okay, sir, okay.
See, actually, to be very frank, working on R will give you very good research papers because nowadays people are writing their own codes. You find the problem with this menu-driven models is it's fixed. They can't go after a certain model. Only the models are fixed, okay? But if you are going for some recent developments, these models are not available in your menu-driven packages. But people who develop that models will ready to share their codes because today knowledge is shareable to all, okay? People ready to share the codes, but you have to know how to crack it, how to work with the packages. The authors of the code will ready to share with you. It's openly available. But only thing is you have to know how to make use of it.
Okay,
there is one more question, sir. In the chat box, it is posted. Sir,
we can go for anything, no issues.
If age and salary is not in numericals, then in SPSS, what measure should be used?
Sir, if age and salary is not in numerical, you have to convert into numericals. There are certain set of variables, ordinal, nominal thing. SPSS is a machine, okay? It's a package which will measure only the numericals, not the characteristics, okay? So what you have to do is you have to convert the data into numericals. Suppose if you are having age is 24 means you have to make it 24, 24, that's all. Salary means you can document it in numbers. Apart from that, there is no other go, sir.
One more question, sir. If we fail to get 1 year data, if we collect data for 20 years, what will be the
see, generally, this is not the right way, but there is no other option. There are certain techniques out there called as extrapolation and interpolation methods are there. If you are lacking only 1 year data, what you can do is you can take the average of things. This is the problem with time series. In time series, you have to satisfy a set of conditions. The minimum 30 data points is required. Then only it will meet out your normality condition. So yes, time series also have certain limitations. To avoid this, but generally people will work with panel and cross section. There is no such limitations. But this is completely not scientific, but we don't have a choice. What we have to do is we can take the average of the both 2 points.
And one more question is there, sir. Again, Varsha Kotwal has raised it. Sir, if we have already collected the question.
Yes. Varsha Kotwal, can you explain this thing? I'm not getting you. If you get the age means, they might have tell you in numbers, right? Maybe 24 or 25. I don't know how you collect that. Both age and salary is numerical. So,
So I have framed already the questionnaire and I have collected in the questionnaire in which I mentioned the age and salary regarding the questions of age and salary also in the form of closed question type. Means I have
what
already
is the response?
given
Suppose
the
if I ask
option.
me, yes.
I have already given the 4 options to the respondent like 20 to 25, 25 to 30, 30 to 35.
Yeah, okay, you are asking for that. Okay, if you give me some time, I can show you a file. If you are interested and the organizer is permitting me, I will tell you. There is a thing called as coding and recoding. So what you can do is, if your age is lying between 20 to 21, you can call it as 1. Okay. If it is lies between 25 to 30, you can call it as 2. Sir, can I take 2 more minutes, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You proceed, sir.
I will show you a file. Are you able to see my screen?
Not yet.
No,
Just a minute, it's sharing. Yeah? Now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Varsha, are you able to see my screen? See, look at this. This is the age of the classification respondents. Okay, 35, 29, and all. Okay, are you able to see this? Age.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what I'm doing is I'm just coding this variable in this way. There is a method called as coding and recoding in SPSS. Okay, I'll show you that same data in SPSS file, how it look like. See, it's look like this, right? 35, 29 and all. Look at the age. So if this is the case, what I can do is I can go for something called as transform, decode into different variables. I can say this as age. I'll just tell you age t transformed age. Okay. So what I will use to do is if my age is less than 25, okay, call it is 1. Okay, if my age lies between 26 to 35, call it as 2. Okay, if my age is 36 to 45, call it as 3, and it is above 46. Call it as 4. Okay, so I can get a variable something like this. So you can have a look over this. Short document. Just a minute. Transform, become a different variable. PHT, values and new values. Continue. So if I go for analysis, sequences. So it will be visible like this. 1 means it lies between 2 and 4, less than 25. 2 means it lies between 25 to 36. 3 means it's more than this thing. Even you can have slight changes on this. So what you can do is you can say 1 means less than 25. Okay. 2 means 25 to 35. 3 means 35 and above. So I'll show you both the variables. Actually, this is your original variable. This is the coded variable. Look at here. Your original variable will look like this. If you code this, you can get something like this. You can get the frequency. It means that in your sample, 25 people are less than 25, 203 people are lies between 25 to 30, and then 1049 people are lies between 30 and above. That's all. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So you have to recode the variable. There are certain methods for that. Okay, sir. I think people will want to leave actually. Any more questions? Excuse me.
But in sheet, when we use in major column, what we should use there, the nominal or the scale?
Actually, better to keep it a nominal value. Scale means you have to give
Nominal or ordinal?
Yes, ordinal means you have to give which one is the first one and which one is the second one. No need to go for that. Just keep it as nominal. That is it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It was the main confusion that what. Thank you.
Ordered means if you're ranking the first variable over the second one, then only it is ordered. Otherwise, there is no need for ordering. Okay, anything, sir?
Yes, sir. I think you have covered all those things. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, participants. Now it is time to propose the vote of thanks. I request my colleague, Dr. Dinesh Kannan, to propose vote of thanks. Before that, the link for the today's feedback and certificate will be posted in the chat box. Kindly fill it up. It will be open up to 7 p.m. today. With this message, I invite Dr. Dinesh Kannan. Dr. Dinesh Kannan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible. Kindly proceed.
Okay, sir. A warm good evening to everyone present here. I take this opportunity as proud privilege to propose vote of thanks for the 3 days national workshop on research methodology and data analysis for social sciences. First of all, I thank the Almighty God for giving blessings for successful completion of 3 days national workshop. Next, I extend my respectful thanks to our respected management, secretary and principal for giving permission to conduct the workshop. And next, I extend my sincere gratitude to our head of the department, Dr. R. Ravikumar sir, for their sincere and tireless effort to organizing frequent programs in our department. Next, I surrender my heartfelt and special thanks to the speaker of the day, Dr. B. Balaji sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Economics, Central University, Tiruvallur, for spending his valuable time with us and also sharing wide knowledge with the participants, and also excellent deliverance, sir. So thank you, sir. Thank you once again, sir. And also at this juncture, I thank the yesterday and day before speakers, Dr. V. Raju sir, Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda College, Chennai, and Dr. S. Ulaganathan sir, Guru Nanak College, Chennai, for their wonderful support and deliverance for the relevant topic. Next, I extend my thanks to all of my colleagues for their kind cooperation to conducting the workshop successful. And last but not least, I thank all the participants for their fullest cooperation given for the entire session. We hope the workshop should be very satisfied, and also we give the expectations of the participants, and we want to keep on touch with you participants on the upcoming programs in our department. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Balaji sir, and also the organizers, Ravi Kumar.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Bala, sir. Thank you, Dr. Gurusekhar, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, sir.
Dr. Ganesh, thank you, sir. Elil, you can post the link in the chat box now. Both in YouTube and Meet. பாட்டியா Thank you, Dr. Ramesh Kumar. Thank you. இன்னொரு டைம் ஃபீட்பேக் ஃபார்ம் போட சொல்றாங்க பாருங்க சேட் பாக்ஸ்ல.